Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Caroline. Behind me we have Keeper Scott.
Hello.
We are here at Wildlife Sydney Zoo, right here on Darling Harbour, and we are going to do another live stream for you today. Now, the animal that we are going to talk about is one of my favourites. As a zookeeper, we're probably not supposed to have favourites, but I'm pretty sure me and Scott actually have the same one. He weighs about 40 kilos. He's technically a bird. His name is Princess, and he is a Southern Cassowary. Now, this is the man himself. Let's go look through those bars there. You can see how beautiful he is. Now, we're going to get Keeper Scott to tell us a little bit about Southern Cassowaries.
All right, so Caroline is absolutely right. Cassowaries are my absolute favorite animal here at the zoo, and Princess is my favorite. So cassowaries are an incredible species. They're going to mostly be found up in the northern part of Australia, right in the Daintree rainforest. Now, they are amazing, and they are actually known as the deadliest bird in the world. Now, you can't really respond back to me, but take a think. How many people do you think a cassowary would have to have killed to have earned that super impressive title? A bit of a thought. Now I've heard a lot of people guess really, really large numbers, but you might be surprised to find out that cassowaries have only killed 2 people to have earned that title. And to be fair to other birds, that is 2 more than anyone else has. So cassowaries are the only bird in the world that actually have human deaths attributed to them. There's one in the 1920s and then one last year. Now, what makes them dangerous is not what a lot of people think. Most of the time they think it's going to be the casque on their head, but it's actually going to be down here on their feet. Right where that middle claw is, that is what makes them dangerous. And when threatened, they will kick out with those really, really sharp claws. Now, Princess here, while he is the most dangerous bird in the world, he is still pretty tame. I am able to hand feed him these grapes like I'm doing right now, right through the fence. Now, these are his favorite food, grapes, and I'll talk a little bit about his eating habits and how he earned the name Princess in just a little bit. But while I am able to do this, they are the deadliest bird in the world, and I'm not going to enter this enclosure with the cassowary. So there's actually a lot of steps that I have to take in the morning to be able to service this enclosure. Now, the first thing is this fence here needs to be locked in place. I'm able to open it throughout the day, but I'm able to close this roller door here and then shut this fence. Now, what's located just to the left of this fence is actually going to be a door. Now, that door is remote controlled. And this cassowary knows that in the morning, when that door opens, that he can come in here, get breakfast, and then I close that behind him, so I'm able to enter this enclosure and service it in the mornings.
So, Scott, we've been given quite a lot of questions about his food. So you mentioned earlier he's getting grapes. Does he have a favourite type of grape?
He absolutely does have a favorite type of grape. He is preferential to red, seedless grapes. That is all he will eat. We have tried to feed him other different kinds, ones with seeds, and then in particular green grapes, and he refuses to eat them. He actually picks them up and throws them on the ground. Very, very picky when it comes to their fruit. Now, cassowaries, a fully grown female cassowary, which get much larger than our males. Our male here is about 40 kilos. A fully grown female cassowary is about 73 kilos. So you can imagine how much bigger. A fully grown female cassowary can eat something up to the size of about a small mango. And they can swallow it completely whole because they don't have a tongue or teeth. But Princess here, if you don't cut up his fruit smaller than about the size of this quartered tomato, he will absolutely refuse to eat it. He is very, very picky. He has earned his name, Princess. Now, and that fruit as well is going to be very, very important to these guys and the conservation. So up in the Daintree rainforest, they're actually so important to their ecosystem that they are what's called a keystone species. And what that means is that without them, that ecosystem would not exist in the same way that it does today. And what makes them so important is they walk around their territories, which are absolutely massive. They're solitary species, so it means they live by themselves, and their territories can be up to 7 kilometers squared. And they eat fruits whole. Now, as they walk around, they have a very short digestive tract, so all of those fruits that they eat are passed through their system whole. And they're directly responsible for the seed dispersal for over 150 plants. Some of them actually will not germinate until they've been eaten by the cassowary, and even some of the fruits that they eat, none of the other animals can because they're considered toxic. So they're incredibly important. So we here at Wildlife Sydney Zoo are actually really proud to support many organizations through our Wildlife Conservation Fund. And the one that we support that directly affects these guys is called Rainforest Rescue. They do is they go up to the danger and they purchase plots of land back from the government that have been felled due to deforestation. And they replant trees there. And a lot of our keepers here have actually been part of those tree planting efforts as well. So we do our part to help the cassowaries out in the wild.
That's so cool. So we have had so many questions about Princess here. One that I think is really cool. Can you tell us if they are related to emus?
They absolutely are related to emus. So they're part of the same family of birds called Ratites. And that includes 5 different birds. So the ones here in Australia are going to be the cassowary and the emu. Then we also have the ostrich located in Africa, the rhea in South America, and then, believe it or not, the kiwi in New Zealand. Those are all Ratites, so they range from the ostrich down to the kiwi, but they all are part of the same family.
Awesome. What about this one we got from Ashley? She's 5 years old. Oh, Delilah, who's 5 years old.
Hi,
she asked, how old is he?
Princess here is 18 years old. So we've had him here at this zoo since he was 3. So he's been here for about 15 years.
And how old can they live to?
So we're actually unsure exactly how old a cassowary can live for. We know that the oldest recorded cassowary was in its 50s, but they're believed that they're mostly going to end up being to live around 40 to 45. But there's actually no real record of exactly how old they can get.
That's cool. Now, it looks like someone knows a little bit about cassowaries, but I think this is one of the best facts about them. They have asked, does the daddy look after the chicks? And then someone else asked, why are the chicks stripy? So maybe you can tell us a little bit about cassowary breeding.
Yeah, absolutely. So when a female cassowary and a male and female cassowary get together, there's a pretty complicated mating ritual where the female, who is much bigger and much more aggressive than the male, he needs to kind of woo her. And what he'll do is he'll start preening down the side of her. And eventually she will either say, all right, this is great, this is exactly what I want, and she will they'll kind of do their thing, or she'll just turn on the male and chase him away. Now, once they do breed, they're only really together for about 2 weeks until she lays her eggs. Now, once she lays the eggs, she leaves and wants nothing to do with that male or those eggs ever again. Now, the male will then go and sit on those eggs for about 40 to 45 days. During that time, he doesn't get up from those eggs for anything. He doesn't get up to eat, drink, or even use the restroom. Because the eggs that he lays are these big, beautiful, bright green eggs. And they will be a pretty big target for a lot of other creatures out in the danger. For something like a scrub python, which is the largest snake found in Australia, would love to eat a nice abandoned cassowary egg. And in fact, if that female came back and saw those eggs, she's actually likely to try to squish them. Because to her, that egg is not her children. Those eggs are competition. And the eggs then, they end up turning out striped because that's a really good way for the dad to be able to see the cassowary. These big cassowaries, while they might not seem it, they actually can be quite camouflaged. So the young, being young with those stripes, not only help them blend in, but it also helps the dad to see them a little bit better. They're able to see those colors and are able to follow them around and keep them safe.
That's so cool. Now, somebody asked if the boys and girls look any different.
They don't look any different. So the only real difference between a male and a female cassowary is going to be the size. So like I said, this male here, he is around 40 kilos, and when he really wants to, he can be about my height, and I'm about 5'8". When a female who will weigh about 73 kilos, and she is, without even stretching up, taller than me. So the females can get much, much bigger, but other than that, they look exactly the same. They both have those wattles on their neck, they'll both have the crest on their head and have those bright blue heads.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we're starting to run out of grapes. So we have something really special that we want to show you guys today. So Scott mentioned earlier that cassowaries can eat something as big as a mango seed. I've seen them eat whole apples before. Obviously, our princess won't do that, but his favorite food in the whole wide world is actually a boiled egg. You can see Scott's got some lovely boiled eggs there. You can see Princess here is incredibly excited about them. Now, before we feed, I'm gonna slip the camera through the fence, and what I want you guys to watch is how he eats this egg, because you're going to be able to see it move all the way down his throat. So we'll do it now. And he turns away from me. Thanks, mate.
Go down.
There you go. Did you guys see that? See if we can get him a little bit closer to the camera. We'll give him his second one. This is such a special treat. But like all animals, he gets to choose what he does, and there we go. That big stretch. There we go, and down the hatch it goes. Was that tasty, Princess? He looks pretty happy with himself. And before we leave you guys all, we are going to do something really cool. It's been pretty warm here in Sydney, and our cassowary absolutely loves a shower. So Scott is setting up the hose now, and we're going to give him a little bit of a sprinkle. Sometimes we see him give himself a nice bath. We see him do his happy dance. There we go. So we'll just point it down on the ground, and then we'll see if he comes back to enjoy his shower. Now, someone else has asked how long cassowaries live for. We actually don't know, but we think they might be able to live up to and over 80 years old. Now, a question that I think is really cool and really important for us to talk about is whether or not cassowaries are endangered. So thank you so much to Amy Johnson who asked that question. And our cassowaries are endangered. So there's not too many of them left in the wild. Their biggest threats are actually habitat loss. So these guys need lots of space to disperse, to find new mates, and to find lots of food. Our cassowary here can eat up to 6 kilos of food a day. So they need a huge amount of space to find all the food that they need. And unfortunately, because of habitat loss, so people are building suburbs and building roads, poor cassowaries are actually losing their homes. So that's why we support Rainforest Rescue, because we want to make sure that we can keep the cassowary around for a long time to come. There we go. He looks like he's having a great old time there in the shower. This is a really special treat. He is loving all of the things that he's getting today, just for you guys.
Absolutely getting spoiled.
Yeah. Somebody asked, oh, that splash did get me, if anyone is wondering. So thanks for that, Princess. Now, somebody just asked, what's the red thing on his neck? So we call them wattles. So this is a southern cassowary. It's the only species of cassowary that's found in Australia. They're also known as the doubled wattled cassowary because they actually have 2 red dangly things. And the other species, the northern cassowary, actually only has 1. So it's also known as the single wattled cassowary. Now,
we actually don't exactly know what they're for. We believe that it could potentially be a way of attracting a mate, or that bright red color could signify danger. But it doesn't, other than that, we're not sure exactly what its 100% purpose would be.
Cool. And I think we have time for one more question. And somebody asked, what is that thing on top of his head? So we call that a casque. And it's pretty interesting. It looks like it's made of bone, but that's actually not the case at all. It's made of keratin, which is the same as what our hair and our fingernails are made from. And inside it has a really sort of interesting honeycomb structure. Now, up until very recently, we actually didn't know what cassowaries used this for. Obviously, we can see him now using it to groom himself. But as recently as last year, a paper was released that suggested that cassowaries use it as a way to keep cool in summer. So these guys are found in tropical North Queensland where it's really, really hot all year round. And so to help keep them cool, they pump their blood up there and they allow the breeze to cool them down. But guys, I think that's all we have time for. We're going to turn the camera around. We're going to say thank you so much all for joining us today. I hope you had as much fun as Princess did, getting all of his eggs and all of his showers. We're going to finish up his shower now and go and do some other work. But thank you so much for joining us. Please make sure you check out all of our social media channels. We've got a new education toolbox. We've got heaps of live streams coming up. So make sure you check them out. Otherwise, guys, hopefully we'll be seeing you inside Wildlife Sydney Zoo very soon. Thank you so much. Bye.